Father, we thank you for today. Thank you for the gift of another day. And we pray that you will open our eyes to your eternal truths and help us to see that which you are teaching us today. In Jesus' precious name we have prayed. Amen. Now, I'm picking a very important topic today. It's about productivity. So I want to talk to you about improving your productivity. How to improve your productivity. Now, let's look at a very unlikely scripture in 2 Timothy chapter 4 and in verse 7. 2 Timothy chapter 4 in verse 7, Paul says, I have fought a good fight. I have finished my course. And that's the phrase I'm picking out of this for the topic today. He said, I have finished my course. Not every starter can claim and boast to be a finisher. Paul says, I started a course and I have finished it. And while the use of the word course in his own case refers to an objective, a goal, an assignment, for you could take it literally, an academic program, an agenda that you have, and it will still be fine. I have finished my course. Only productive people get to a point where they are able to finish what they started. And you know, one of the names we are told of God in the Bible, particularly of Jesus in Hebrews, the Bible says is the author and the finisher of our faith. So what he authored, he finished. Jesus was a highly productive person. Now, when we're talking of productivity, it is not in the amount of things that you do, it is measuring the efficiency, looking at the rate of your output per the input that went into the whole venture. So when you're talking of productivity, you're looking at what was intended to be achieved, what resources were deployed into the effort, and what we got as a result of it. So if somebody says to you that, wow, I was able to get 1,000 naira today, or from whatever I did, I got $1,000 today, and you ask them, how much did you put into it? The first person put just 10,000 naira and they got 1,000 naira back. The second person put 100,000 naira or $100,000 or whatever currency in the country you live in. Imagine the first person put 10,000 and got 1,000. That's, you see, 10%. The other person put 100,000 and got 1,000 back. That is 1%. So whenever you're referring to productivity or yield, you must always take note of the input that went into it. So the rate of output per the unit of input. And that's very important, because if at the end of a day you look at yourself or you look at someone and he says, I achieved this, and this person also says, I achieved this, it looks like they have both achieved, except that if you find out, you see that the first person spent 2 weeks to achieve it, the second person spent only a day to achieve it. In terms of productivity, they have both achieved the goal, but in terms of productivity, the person that spent just 1 day did quite a lot more. And it's important in your life that you take note of productivity. So many people are not productive, and I see people all around asking me, Pastor Wale, are you able to do this? Are you able to combine this with that? Are you able to do all of that? Now, trust me, I'm not productive in all the areas of my life, but in areas of my priorities, and I'm going to get to that very soon. You will never be productive in all spheres of life, but the moment you define your priorities, then your priorities begin to determine your productivity and the things you should pay attention to. You see, as we have been on lockdown, I mentioned to you the other day that many of us need to learn new skills. And that's because whether you like it or not, the disruption in the workplace that we thought will happen maybe in another 3 to 5 years, COVID-19 has brought it straight down here. Trust me, when the lockdown is over and all the nations of the world open their economies back, there are some jobs, they are gone forever, because we have been able to see, we didn't think it was going to be that possible, but we have been able to see that some of the office spaces we have so big, we're spending so much money on rent, we probably don't need all of those if we channel a fraction of that back into data and maybe some form of utility bills for our staff. The same thing with utility bill. The square meter you occupy in the office determines the lighting and all the other things. A lot has changed. In some cases, they have realized that maybe they don't even need the number of staff that they used to carry. They have cut it down and business will continue as usual. For you, learning a new skill will be very important. I hear you, some people say, I don't have the time. Well, my English teacher says, number one, that's bad English. You never say, I don't have time. They say you should say, I've not got time. Well, I'm not an English professional. I don't know so much about the difference between them. But they say, don't say, I don't have time. Say, I've not got time. What are they saying? Most people say, I don't have time because literally their 24 hours are occupied. But so also are highly productive people. They don't have more than 24 hours. They just have been able to master what I'm teaching you today, thereby improving their productivity. Busyness is not the same thing as business. Somehow they sound alike, but they are too far apart. And many of us are busy doing nothing. That's the first group. Busy doing nothing. In other words, people are occupied, but when you ask them really what's occupying their time, they can't tell. They're not achieving anything. They're not doing anything. They're just busy doing nothing. There's the second group, busy doing something that is worthless. So when you look at them, you see they are engaged. You can see what they are doing, just that it's worthless. This person doesn't have money, but what he's doing is not giving him money. Rather, he's taking money away from him. I've met so many people, and I remember talking to somebody the other day. Now you don't have money, you're looking for money, but a good part of your time on a daily basis is spent on things that take money away from you. That means you're not very smart. You're not looking at things that matter in your life. So it's important that as we talk about improving your productivity today, you sit back, ask yourself, what am I doing with my time? Because if you still continue to say, I've not got time, you will not be able to learn new skills. You will not be able to attend to things that can move your life forward. You will continue with menial jobs. You will continue with things that get you hungry. You will continue with things you don't like. You will be living another man's life. Let me give you 8 points today as we talk about improving your productivity. Number 1, identify your priorities. I can't overemphasize this. 2 people can be doing the same thing, and one person is productive because that is his priority, but the other person is not productive. Now, many of you know me. I'm a pastor, I'm a speaker, I'm an accountant. I do quite a couple of things, but one of the things I don't do is play professional football. What that means is that anytime I sit before the television to watch football, it is relaxation. It is not one of my priorities. Okay, so yeah, catching up with the league, with the Champions League and all of that could be a priority, but at best, it's a relaxation. I cannot spend my entire day doing that except I've achieved some of my priorities. But for some other persons who are aspiring to be footballers or are footballers, that is very important to them. Or for a sport journalist, that could be a priority for him. So you see, the two of us sitting down watching TV, and yet it does not add to the same thing for both of us. Identify your priorities. In John chapter 9 and in verse 4, Jesus Christ said, you know that scripture, I must walk the works of him that sent me while it is day. The night cometh when no man can walk. John 9:4. I must walk the works of him that sent me while it is day. The night cometh when no man can walk. Now, I want you to listen to this, because most people don't know this. Jesus Christ said, I must walk, listen, the works of him that sent me. So for Jesus, his priority was doing the work of the person that sent him. He identified who he must please. He identified the will of the person he must carry out. And yet I see a lot of young people who have not been able to identify the will of the person they must listen to. Two people are calling you. One of them cuts your check. He writes your check on a monthly basis. The other one doesn't do anything, probably is going to take away from you. And this person writing your check on a monthly basis says, he calls your name and say, Peter, come. And you say, I am on phone. Let me finish what I'm doing. Peter, I have something urgent for you. Sorry, let me quickly finish this, my phone call. And I'm not saying you can't do that, but you need to pay attention to your priorities. Priority must be given to the person that writes your check, that writes your paycheck, not to the person that takes away from your paycheck. Now, of course, there could be family emergencies, but I'm sure you're an adult, you're able to contextualize what I'm saying. So I'm not talking of exceptional cases, I'm talking generally, because people so many times are not able to make a difference sometimes between a colleague at work and the employer who writes the check. Jesus said, I must walk the works of him that sent me while it is day. What are your priorities? Number one, you need to determine your priorities based on, I've just told you, who writes the check. If you're an employee somewhere, probably your 9 to 5 or your 8 to 5, depending on where you're working, is already booked by your employer because he paid for it. Once he gives you your salary, you know that time is blocked, is booked. So within that time you have agreed to exchange with him is a priority. Whatever you have to do during that period matters a lot. But apart from that will be your goals, your long-term objectives. I want to write a book. That is a priority. I'm a singer. I want to bring out 3 tracks this year. That comes out as a priority. I know people that have been telling me for 5 years now, I want to write a book. I will write a book. Well, we have not seen the writing, neither have we seen the book. In other words, they have not put importance on their priorities. I'm asking you today, what is your priority, or what are your priorities? Your priorities will be different from my own, and some of the things I call mundane could be very valid priorities for you. But what's important is that each of us set our priorities properly. Number 2, acknowledge your limitations. Wow, this is very important. You can do many things, but there are things you can't do. And your strength is in acknowledging these limitations. You have the limitation of time. There are many things you would love to do, but time is not a luxury you have. Acknowledge that. What that means is that instead of spending 3 hours, 4 hours doing things that are not very productive, remember you have just 24 hours and there's nothing you can do about that. Acknowledge that. Acknowledge that you will not be able to attend to everybody. You will not be able to please everybody. Acknowledge, number 2, that you have limitations in terms of skills. Now, you're a fast learner, you can do so many things, but the fact that you can do so many things, does that mean you should do everything you have to do? Acknowledge that you have a limitation in terms of skills. You know, many years ago, I found that I have a way of doing my things in a way that will please me. So When I give things to people to do, it comes back, I don't like how it's done, I get to learn it myself. That was what drove me to learning how to design websites and quite a few things that I've learned in my life. The problem though was I now found myself learning so many things that I needed them at the time. Some of them were one-offs, but some of them, they're not really my priorities. So now I've learned to accept the fact that I don't know how to do this. It's not in line with my long-term goal and objective. I'll pay someone else to do it. Acknowledge that you have a limitation in terms of your skill. Number 3, allocate your resources. I hope you're following me today. It's going to help you greatly in improving your productivity. Allocate your resources. Now you have identified your priorities. You have found out that this is important to be done, but it doesn't have to be done by you. You have found out that this is to be done, but it doesn't have to be done today. Maybe on one of these days we'll talk about there are some calculated procrastinations that could be very, very nice. Now, procrastination generally may not be good, but there are some profitable things you can push till another time. They are not your priorities. They don't add so much value. You can push them till another time. For example is doing your laundry on a daily basis. If you do your laundry on a daily basis, some people will say, why don't you push it to Saturday? Some will say, no, I just like how I quickly attend to it and it's done. But if you're not doing that every time and you're collecting clothes from people to wash, the question is, what much value does that add to you, except that's the business you're doing? Allocate your resources, very important. In terms of resources, we're talking of time here. Time is the first thing you need to allocate. Don't forget you have just 24 hours. What are you going to do with these 24 hours? You need to ask yourself, how many hours do I want to sleep every day? Now, there are so many people that have not identified that, and it's a problem. Too much sleep is a problem. Too little sleep is a problem. Now, trust me, I have been in the too little sleep circle. I don't want to go back there again. It created insomnia, other health issues for me, and I now have learned that productivity has limits. You need to, in fact, sleep must be factored into your productivity, because if you're not resting enough, you'll find out that it will retard you throughout the day. So allocate your time, the time to sleep, the time to eat, very important. You have to allocate time to eat. And when it's time to work, please ensure that what you're doing is working. Allocate your time adequately. And if you're working in an office, you're working for someone, when it's time to close, so that you can attend to other things in your life. You have time for your children. You have time for your other priorities that are different from your employment. It's very important, very crucial. Allocate your resources. Number 2 will be your people. Everyone does have people around us. Yeah. At a point in your life, there are some things that may no longer be very, it may not be the best use of your time. So for example, while growing up as a child, my parents, they taught us how to do the dishes, how to wash the clothes ourselves, and very fantastic thing you must learn to do. I don't think any parent will be doing well for their words, for their children, if the children don't know how to do the dishes, if they don't know how to wash their own clothes. I mean, in those days, we didn't have so much of lawnmowers. They were there maybe for the big people, but cutlass, we did the weeds around the house. So we did quite a lot of things. Fast forward to now, and I know how much 1 hour of my time costs. I know what people pay for 1 hour of my time. It means that sitting down, washing my clothes for 2 hours, it may not be the best use of my time at this stage. of my life. There's nothing wrong with learning that, but with time you will find that it may no longer be the best use of your time. There's nothing wrong with that, but if you can contextualize what I'm saying, allocate your time appropriately. You need to. So basically, I'm saying, if you allocate, you might be able to get someone who can do that for you. Some people will joyfully do it for you. Now, it's not because their own time is not precious, but maybe there are other values you are adding to their lives, and they consider it a privilege, a honor. Now, I say a honor because sometimes, you see, life is very important. The man that collects the bag for the CEO every day, even though he's not a messenger, has warmed himself into the heart of the CEO. And trust me, it's not a matter of partiality, but the way the CEO will treat him will be different from the way he will treat some other people who don't do that. So it's not so much of, say, I want to wash my clothes myself, I want to cut the grass myself. I probably would not do that again. If I spend 2 hours doing that, I have deprived some other people who need my attention. So it's important. Allocate, outsource, delegate. Those are the words when it comes to allowing people around you to be a blessing to you, to assist you in some things that are very important. And as your children begin to grow up, allow them. Allocate things to them. Allocate your resources appropriately. Allocate your money. Now look at yourself, and I want you to do this exercise. I want you to record where your money is going. The way you will know you are productive is if your money is going to areas of your priority. There are some of us, we're not spending money in the areas of our priority. I mean, you just buy things. Most people, they buy things to eat and to wear. That's all. Eat and wear. What about your priorities? How are you deploying resources to attend to your priorities? If you're going to change your life, you will need to pay for some courses. You will need to pay for some classes. You will need to pay for someone's time to mentor you. You may need to pay for some seminars where you're going to be taught things you probably didn't know before, or in some cases, things you thought you knew, but they are said in new ways that will open your eyes and mesh them into your heart so that you can take the value. So allocate your money. I can't overemphasize on this issue of allocation of money. Buy courses, buy videos, buy things, educational materials that can help you to be more productive and achieve your priorities. Number 4, avoid distractions. Don't forget, we're talking about ways to improve your productivity. How do I improve my productivity? Avoid distractions. One of the greatest distractions of our generation is our phones. Sometimes we're in the lift and you see everybody's on phone. Sometimes we're in the car driving and only the driver is not looking at his phone. And trust me, sometimes I've even seen drivers that every now and then they pick up their phone to just check something. We are so glued to that thing. Well, let me tell you this. As nice as the phone is, it is a source of distraction. Yeah, you heard me right. It could be, let me put it that way, it could be a source of distraction. One thing I try to do, and I mean it doesn't work every time, but you have to look at the pros and cons and take which one works for you the most. Now, if I'm in by the nature of my profession, sometimes you are in a very deep thought, you're looking for a figure, you're reconciling something. If something takes me out of that thought, it may take some time before I'm able to come back to that depth of thought. Now, because I don't want anything to do that, once I know I'm going to get involved in something like that, I'll put my phone not on vibrate but on mute. I mute it entirely so that all those notifications that are coming in when Facebook alerts, when this alerts, nothing is coming until I'm done with what I need to do. And someone says, what if someone is calling you? The real people that are calling me at that time that I need to attend to must be my boss, or someone that matters within the time bought already by my employer. And if they want to call me, they're not likely to call me on my personal phone since I'm in the office. They're likely to use the office desk phone. Now, it's important that you are brutal with how you treat your time. There have been people I've told, please do not call me during office hours. I do not want it. Why? Somebody is calling me during office hours and say, oh, Pastor Wale, how are you? It's been some time. It's been a long... Guess who is talking? I'm like, guess who is talking? Pam, I call the phone. When you're ready to talk to me, then let's talk. I probably am in a meeting or I'm talking with someone very important, asking me, guess who is talking on a Monday morning? That's not right. I'm not going to allow you to drag me into that kind of a thing. Oh, we can be doing guess who is talking in the night when I've closed, I'm relaxing. Me too, I will play along with you and say, I'm trying to guess, just that I can't guess. But on Monday morning, we're not guessing anything. I'm cutting the phone. Very important. Avoid distractions. You can actually log out of some of those things that are always bringing notification. Prem, before a minute, 2 minutes, No. You're not going to be productive that way. Avoid distractions. Internet could be another distraction. Sometimes I want to work on my computer. Maybe I want to type something. I want to write it. I'm a writer. I type myself. I want to type a book. Do you know what I do sometimes? I disconnect from the internet. Why? Well, I don't know about you, but sometimes I want to do a research online. That was what took me to Google Chrome or to Firefox. But 5 minutes, I'm asking myself, what brought me here? And then I remember it was research I was doing, but an ad popped up that I clicked that led me somewhere else, and 5 minutes of my time gone. I've not even touched the research. So sometimes I just disconnect from the internet entirely. And there are tools that can help you actually. There are tools that can help you. There are softwares that you can install that when you want to work like that, just click on them. They're going to block everything, including the internet. One of them is so brutal. Now, once you click on it, that it's time to work, it blocks everything, including the internet. And even if you go back to say unblock, it's going to tell you, no, it's not yet time. So you set the time. You could say 10 minutes or 15 minutes. It's going to tell you, no, it's not your time. And you could have various modes of seriousness. So the first mode could be, no, it's not your time, except you put a password to override it. But when you are really dead serious to say nothing at all, even password will not work. Not time until 30 minutes. Yeah, block yourself off the internet sometimes. Social media. We can't go there. I know people that spend, and you can ask yourself in all sincerity, how many hours each day do you spend on Facebook? So, you have to be current, 80% of what goes on social media is fake. If somebody just takes a picture with Lamborghini, now, the picture is real, he is real. What is not real is them being together. And many of them may never be together till they die. So, because they can't be together, they go to a factory, it's called Photoshop. They bring the two pictures together, put them together, and that's creating craze for you. See, this my friend, we were in primary school together. Look, he's now taking pictures with Lamborghini. And some of you are not smart to know that some of those things, they're just hypes to create unnecessary pressure on you. Now, so if you're spending 2 hours every day on Facebook, there's something you're doing wrong. Except, again, you're a social media marketer. That is your office. There are people whose business is on social media. Maybe they are digital marketers and things like that. So there's always context, to what we're saying. So avoid social media and only go there at designated times of the day. It's very important. Emails. Yeah. I've seen people that say, and sometimes I practice it too, particularly when you want to work. Only check your emails at designated time. Not that every time you're going there, you will not be able to achieve anything that way. So you could say to yourself, I'm only going to be checking my email every 20 minutes, every 30 minutes, every 15 minutes. Someone says, what if you're sent an email that is so urgent? Well, as a matter of practice, when I send someone something that is urgent, they need to attend to urgently, I follow it up with a call. And if somebody sends you something that is so urgent, before the time you check, well, they should follow it up with a call. You will see that generally your productivity will increase. What about your visitors? Very important. Avoid having visitors during your productive hours. I know of offices, people that in their office, they have removed all the visitor seats. So if you come in as a visitor, there's no place to sit. And the whole idea is to discourage visitors so that if you come unannounced, uninvited, say, I was just passing by, I said I should branch to greet you. You're not going to sit down. I'm just going to stand up with you and we just talk briefly. And as I'm standing up with you, we talk briefly and I'm finding a way to walk you out of the office to let you know that it's not a good time to discuss. Very important. How are you managing all of? I'm sure as I'm talking to you, you can see the areas of your strength, just like you can see the areas of your weakness. And these days, almost everybody has a home office. Try to have something like that too, a corner in your house where you have a table and you can put your laptop there and you can work without being disturbed. It's very important. Avoid distractions. Number 5, improve your focus. Improve your focus. We're talking about ways to improve your productivity. Now, there are so many people, they are absent-minded. It's very difficult for them to have concentration. And if you're like that, you need to deliberately work on that. Now, most of these people have too many things going on their mind and it's so difficult to shut down. So you need to practice shutting down. It could actually affect your sleep because as you lay down on the bed, your mind is not yet on the bed with you. Your mind is still all over Lagos, going all over the whole place. Now, so you need to learn how to improve your focus. And one of the ways you can do that is to try and in your home office or in your office, wherever it is you have chosen to work, try and only put things that inspire creativity rather than things that distract your attention. That way you can improve your focus. I've talked about also having softwares that can help you. So for example, there is a word processing software. Unlike Microsoft Word, there are so many tools. This one is just blank, just like a slate. If you want to type, you're not going to have all the bells and whistles of Microsoft Word. You're just going to type simply like Notepad. Okay, but it's actually even more blank than Notepad. So it just allows you to type, and it eradicates anything that can take away your focus. You need to improve your focus. Now, I need to be a bit faster because of time. Number 6, you need to create time for fun. Create time for fun. Now, many people think that productivity is always working and always working. No. Create time for fun. If you build in time for fun into your daily hour, you'll see that you'll be able to do more. So, for example, I play table tennis. I love playing table tennis. So sometimes when I've worked for some time, I call someone we could play together. We go play, we have fun. And when you have fun like that, you relax. So when I go back to my work, the designated time, it just works for me. Rather than working all day long until you're tired. You're tired emotionally, you're tired mentally, you are easily, irritated because you've been working and all of that. So build fun into what you're doing. If you build fun, you will find that productivity will increase. Now, number 7, take care of your health. Very important. Take care of your health. There are many people, the reason they are not very productive is their health has deteriorated. Now, I'm not talking of old age. As you grow older, naturally, it will appear that you will get less and less productive. Well, of course, that's why most organizations say after 60, weekends may no longer be long enough to revive you. So just go home because you can't do much again. And that's why a lot of organizations want to have the good part of your youthful life. They say, we want to recruit you when you're under 30. And because by the time you've really grown, you can't do much again. Well, that's one part to it. But do you know, if you take care of your health very well, even at 60, you can still be more productive than those that are 30, because experience is brought to the picture. So take care of your health. Take care of your health. Many of us are too careless about our health. We don't eat. It's so good to eat. It's not just because of the pleasure it brings, but nutritional value. And I'm not talking of eating junk all over the old place. I'm talking of eating good quality food. When you have eaten, your brain is well fed. It's robust. It's ready to think. That it works for me that way. Particularly when I'm walking, I want to have a cup of tea, a cup of coffee, or something around. It just keeps the flow going. It keeps the flow going. And you find out that so many times when you are hungry, you can't concentrate. That's me, for example. I can't pick a book I'm reading when I've not eaten, or when I'm hungry. No. Well, that's why when I'm fasting, it's not the best time to read something I want to really concentrate on. Because when I'm hungry, I can concentrate a lot. Do you get that? I don't know about you. So it's important. Take care of your health. That's what we're talking about here. And some of you don't realize that the reason your productivity has dropped is because your health has deteriorated. Look at what you can do to cleanse yourself. Get rid of the junks. Take exercise very seriously. Warm up once in a while, jog if you are still young, brisk walk if you are older. Do some form of sport or exercise. You can do press-ups, you can do sit-ups, whatever it is you can do in your house. Very simple things, particularly as you're growing up, so that you don't go and break a bone that you will find trouble getting healed. Lastly, celebrate your victories. Celebrate your victories. Now, many people don't know about this. We just want to be so hard on ourselves. The reason so many times we don't achieve our goals is because some of those goals are not realistic in the first place. You can never achieve them. They're too much. So, the fact that you didn't achieve everything does not mean that you didn't try. So many times, maybe you're good the way you are. Celebrate your victories. Wow, I just achieved something. Give God praise. Give yourself a treat and say, yes, I did it. I remember when I wrote my first book, it was a wow moment for me. It was an achievement, I said, wow, Wale, you did it. Wale, wow, you made it happen. Something told me, continue, write more. But I said to myself, I set a deadline already and I met that deadline. So I pushed it to my publisher and said, we'll be working on the remaining in the second edition. So celebrate your victories. What have you achieved? What have you achieved this year? What are you going to achieve more? You see, it creates a juice in you that encourages you. It encourages you, it helps you to keep going. So we have talked today about how to improve your productivity, and trust me, the reason I had to talk about this subject is because I know that many of you watching me today, there are new skills you need to pick up post COVID-19. And the only way to pick them up is if you drop the excuse of I am busy, and you really sit back and say to yourself, I can achieve it, I can do it, I can get something done. Rearranging your priorities. I love the way somebody said it. He said, don't prioritize your schedule, rather schedule your priorities. That's so fantastic. Let me say it again. Don't prioritize your schedule. In other words, don't go through the list that you have created and now look at which one to do first. No. Rather, schedule your priorities. Rather, what it's saying is, I Identify your priorities and then find a way of calendarizing them. Put them into calendar and how you're going to achieve them. If you do this, you will be, the other day I sat back and I asked myself a question. While write out the things you know how to do that can make you money. You can't believe how proud I was of myself that my years growing up, I've acquired quite a lot of skills that if I want to focus on each of them to say, this is going to be my new money-making idea, each of them is going to work. And I look back and say, Wale, how were you able to learn this? How were you able to acquire this? It's because of this thing I'm telling you today. There are things I don't have time to attend to. There are places I don't go. Not because they are not invited, but it's not my priority, if you get what I mean. Oh yeah, I see movies. I do see movies and I love action movies. But guess what? You will not see me watching movies during the time of my priority. Movies for me is a way to relax. If you see me watching movies, it is my time of relaxation. I want you to be like that so that your priorities can be attended to. What that means is that by the end of this year, many of you are going to come out with your books. You're going to say, this book I've been trying to write for 5 years now. After listening to that message and watching that message Pastor Wale prayed, I decided that I'm going to put priority to writing it. Many of you are going to learn new skill. During this lockdown, I've learned a new skill, and it's a skill that can make me money. Well, it's not that it can make me money, it's actually making me money. Why? You have to keep learning. You have to keep learning. And I have my home office. I've spent money equipping it. I've removed quite a few distractions away from the old place, and I spend a lot of time in my home office. Why? I can't say because of lockdown I'm sleeping or I'm watching TV. No, I can't do that. I still have to continue to put my priorities ahead of me. I know you have been blessed today. I want you to put it down in the comment. What did you learn? What did you pick? Was it the first point, identifying your priorities? Or was it the second point that we talked about, acknowledging your limitations? Acknowledging that you can't attend to everybody. Acknowledging that you don't have the skill to do everything you have to do. Or was it the third thing, allocating your resource, your time, your money, the people? Was it the fourth thing, avoiding distractions? Now, if you're like me, I've told you my own distractions. Internet could be a major distraction for me. I love doing a lot of research. So, to help me, particularly when I know what I need to do is not connected to the internet, I disconnect. Now, it may not always be possible, of course, but if what you want to do does not require the internet, disconnect totally from it, Number 5, improve your focus. 6, create time for fun. 7, take care of your health. And 8, celebrate your victories. If we do all of this, we're going to be like Paul the Apostle, that we are going to be able to say, I have finished my course. May the Lord bless you in the name of Jesus Christ. May His face shine upon you. And as you practice the things you have learned today, you will be able to benefit from the value that increased and improved productivity carries. God bless you in Jesus' name.